Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And guys, we have just a really average, it's going to be a great show. Great show today. We are doing some fantasy football talk. You have some questions for me or something?
I do. Buy or sells.
Yeah, buy or sells. Okay, so you're giving me the buy or sells. Next week, I have some fun trivia questions for you, but we're going to save that.
Can we change the definition? Because I just realized there's probably two that aren't buy or sells.
Okay.
These are fantasy football questions.
Okay, fantasy football thoughts. We'll call it that.
That's what we'll call buy or sells.
Okay. Before we do that, we are doing our fantasy football values, right? All right. So we're basing this on ADP. We used the fantasy football calculator. But I'm going to be really honest. There's one guy that I have on my list that he's not going in the round that fantasy football calculator says. There's no way. We'll get to him. But we'll get.
There's a lot of different sites. I use Fantasy Football Pros for mine, so you can kind of fact check it. And these things change weekly too because they update it all the time.
Exactly. So it's interesting. Take the ADP with a grain of salt because it's really early on, and the farther we get into fantasy season, once really football season starts to rep up, you're gonna see like the calculator is gonna, the ADP is gonna be more realistic to where they're actually going. So we're hitting this a little bit early, giving people a little bit of a head start on guys that we're thinking about, that we think you should be thinking about. And hey, let us know in the comments if there's anybody else that's like high on your list for guys to target that are in the right spot. We'd love to hear it. This was a fun list to put together. I'm gonna let you go first if you have it up. You ready?
I'm always ready.
You're always ready.
Okay.
All right.
So this one is a buy or sell. This is Antonio Gibson. His ADP is 2.2, meaning that's 26 overall.
Okay.
Second pick, second round. We're going PPR, 12-man traditional league. Do you buy or sell Antonio Gibson at the start of the second? Are you comfortable with that?
So I thought we were doing our fantasy values first.
No.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, you're fine. I wasn't.
I was ready to hit you. I want to know about Antonio Gibson.
I got you. Antonio Gibson.
Because that affects my later list.
Top of the second. Okay, no, I got you. You're good. So top of the second round. Yeah, I don't know. That's steep for me. To me, Antonio Gibson was really good last year. I think he was certainly overhyped. I feel like from what really ended up happening. I wonder if he's going to get the full range. J.D. McKissic got a ton of the passing work. It seemed like Washington really wanted to have more than one guy back there. But yeah, I like. I think running back's always so weird because you need to grab one of the ones early, and Antonio Gibson's going to be one of those guys going the second round. It's like you're grasping at straws because you can't miss out on one of the top running backs. Nobody at his level is going to be there. When you get back around, especially in a snake draft, you're not drafting until the end of the third round.
You got to make those picks.
Exactly. You got to make that move. I don't hate it. I think there, and off the top of my head, I would think there's better players to go for.
Exactly. I'll put it in perspective. He is higher than Joe Mixon.
Okay.
Would you rather have Joe Mixon or Antonio Gibson?
I'd take Joe Mixon. I would.
Okay.
I think he's more. I think he's more overall talented.
He is higher than Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is hard because I just hate the way the Raiders use him. Like they put so many other guys in there. But I do like Josh Jacobs, and I probably would rather have Josh Jacobs.
And according to Fantasy Pros, I know on Calculator it was different. They were a few spots off.
Okay.
Antonio Gibson is higher than Austin Eckler.
I'd take him over Eckler. I would.
Okay.
I would. Yeah. Yeah. So that's right around. And those aren't
right
easy
there,
ones.
You're saying not slam dunk buy, but you have to
I'd
get running
rather
back.
buy than sell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I certainly would because there's upside. And he's a second-year running back. There's also the chance, like I mentioned, there's a chance that the team just gives him the reins. Like there's a chance he gets 60% of the running back snaps and all of the majority of the touches at the running back position. That's a real possibility. If that happens, then you're in a really, really good spot.
Yeah, depending on the way that offense shapes up.
Exactly. And I love the offense. I love the team in general, so I do like the upside there for Washington. I think Washington, honestly, this is way earlier than what we'll get into our division breakdown and everything and all that. I think Washington wins that division. I feel pretty good about it too.
It's going to be. It's going to be competitive for sure. They have the best defense in that division by far.
Yeah, I think they have.
As long as they can have an above-average capable offense.
Yeah, they have comparable weapons. Obviously, you look at the Cowboys; they probably have better weapons overall, probably a better offense overall. But man, I'll take Washington's offense with their defense than I will the Cowboys' offense with their defense. I believe that.
Dallas is built off of those names, though. They have the names.
No, for sure.
To take care, but they haven't done it.
They've underperformed, Which, granted, the injury last year. So, sorry, I'm getting off track. I'll let you.
No, you're fine. Number 2, this is also on running backs. This is the Jaguars. This is James Robinson. Our ADP is 2.10. This is back of the second round.
No way.
And here, fantasypros.com. That's where James Robinson goes, and Travis Etienne goes in the 7th round.
Yeah, that's gonna course correct. There's just no way. Yeah, that's not realistic to where we're at right now.
Don't touch James Robinson.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch James Robinson until the 8th, 9th round. And
pull up calculators.
Yeah, I'll pull up calculator. Granted, like I said, I was talking about there's one rookie that I really like at the running back position that is way lower than he should be. But I'll look up James Robinson right now. This is on PPR
4.2. That's 4th round.
Yeah, that's still too high in my opinion. That's way too high in my opinion.
That's really high.
I don't get that at all.
That is really high.
That's just not going to be realistic. We're just talking about this in June, so things are going to change.
But Etienne in the 7th.
Yeah, it's a huge buy. To me, Etienne, are the league that we always go to because we're competitive in our keeper league. You get 2 keepers, so essentially the first 2 rounds are gone. Like more often than not, if I'm there in the back of the first round, I'd take Etienne. I really would. If I'm there in the second round, he's gone. You know what I mean?
So you're saying he's going to jump, and he will.
Etienne and Harry.
Same for Najee.
Yeah, and granted, this is a keeper league where a lot of the running backs are gone. So like you look at the rookies, their higher value. Up, of course. It certainly does. So, but like by that same logic, in just a regular redraft, 3rd, 4th round, they're not getting past me in the 3rd, 4th.
There's
round.
No way.
Those top 2 guys, no. Najee is slam dunk to me, and Etienne is going to be utilized heavily. I do believe that. I believe in both those guys.
Think about Najee. I believe they are going to plug him into that one. I've heard so many rave reviews about him too.
Oh yeah.
That Big Ben said the running back coach had to tell him, "Hey, I got to go home." That Najee, I got to go home because he's been out there practicing so much later than practice, like after practice ends and stuff. It's really good. Both of them for me. Yes, I will snag them 3rd or 4th
for
round.
Sure.
Guaranteed. Probably before that because I think you gotta take the shot or miss the shot.
Yeah.
Next one. Still sticking with these running backs. These guys are right next to each other. I want you to tell me if you buy or sell. David Montgomery 3.3.
Buy.
J.K. Dobbins 3.1.
Sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the logic behind David Montgomery?
All right, David Montgomery, I do believe he leveled up last year, in my opinion. I think he had a slow start to his career, but he finally was able to hit that next gear a little bit after contact and really just became a little bit more of a smoother running back. To me, I was just watching last year's film. I feel good about David Montgomery really being an RB1 by the end of the year, assuming health. And obviously, I'm not the biggest Nagy fan as far as their offense in general goes, but I do think Justin Fields is going to break into that starting job by week 4, right? And if you're looking as a season-long projection for a running back, I do think that will add to the entire offense and in turn add to his production. So that's definitely an element that I look at. And overall, I think he's the RB1, and in the 3rd round, I will absolutely take an RB1 on the team. Yeah, that's just, to me, that's slam dunk.
Yeah, he's a slam dunk for me too. I kind of have this crutch towards David Montgomery, I guess, because I know the skill set, I know the way that he plays, I know his broken tackle average and his yards per carry average, but they just and they translate on the field too. He plays great, they just don't play him enough. They're always trying to be too cute, swapping it in and out. I really believe, it just came out today that Matt Nagy said that Andy Dalton is QB1. Go figure.
I'll believe when I see it.
Exactly. It shouldn't be. I don't know what Nagy's doing.
He will not be QB1 by week 4.
No,
there's no way.
Yeah. And I've only heard good things about Justin Fields too.
Which you're supposed to at this time of year, but still.
Of course. But still, Justin Fields, he drives the stock of every single Chicago Bears player that we've been so down on for so long. That includes Allen Robinson. I love Allen Robinson now. I love David Montgomery now. I love even some of these second tool option guys later rounds because I believe Fields can get things going right for Chicago for once through the air.
Okay. So see, I believe in Fields' ability to just add a dynamic to the run game that I think has been missing for a long time. So I still wonder about Allen Robinson. I don't wonder at all about the run game in general, and obviously
I just think it's nice to have someone who can maybe throw a competent pass for once. It's been bad for Chicago for a long time. It really has. Sure, JK, you said sell. Why would you say sell? Because
he's not the RB1 on his team.
But you would think Mark Ingram disappearing, everything.
It didn't matter last year.
Yeah, it didn't.
Listen, J.K. Dobbins. Listen, I love the fit. I love the fit for the football team. If you're a Ravens fan, it's awesome, right? You have another if you're just looking at the Ravens' success.
Yes.
J.K. Dobbins was an awesome fit. He should not have been there where he was. He was my number 1 running back coming into that class, and I don't think I was wrong about it. it. Like, I think he's a stud. I really do. But he's on a football team that is going to spread it around. Gus Edwards is going to get his touches. I mean, and then their other guy that was fourth on their roster last year is going to be third this year. Justice Hill. Thank you so much. I think he's going to get some touches. And then obviously the quarterback is going to cut into the running back production as well. I'm not saying he'll be bad, but in the third round, you're drafting a guy who he will be RB2. Like on the season, he will be RB2, but to me, there's just no chance of him breaking into that RB1 range. And if he does, it's like 12th or 11th. It's not consistently really, really good production to the level that I'd be looking for. I look for upside in those early rounds. And if you're gonna take a guy who is maybe more safe, like as far as like, I do believe he'll get 10 touches a game. I do believe he'll get 5 to 10 points a game at the worst, and then he'll have some blow up games as well. Obviously, every running back does. But I just don't see him consistently having those blow-up games. And if I'm going to go safe, I want to at least have a guy who has the chance of leveling up, has the chance of going big every week and really just like, and I always talk about leveling up, to going to that next level of production on a weekly basis. David Montgomery has that. J.K. Dobbins doesn't. In the third round, I'm looking for the guy who does.
Yeah, listen, I was just playing devil's advocate. I mean, at the end of the day, Lamar is going to have more rushing yards than J.K. Dobbins. Yeah. I stand by that. I think Lamar's going to hit right around over a K, maybe 1,100 or so. Yeah. J.K.'s probably going to sit somewhere right now, 900 to 1,000. I mean, it's going to be close. Yeah. But those aren't the numbers. If theoretically, 3.1, that is if you pick 1, 2, or 3 first round overall, that's where your snake comes back and, man, you better hope you hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you truly feel confident with a J.K. Dobbins going in there, and there's going to have to be a lot of people doing that, but give me a Chris Carson.
Yeah. Chris Carson's, I think has more upside. Honestly,
yeah, and he's a guy who goes in the
he'll be hurt 5 games
of
the week,
round on average and stuff. But give me David Montgomery, give me a Josh Jacobs. He goes in the third round.
I'd rather have all those guys more.
Exactly. Yeah. One, it's not on my list, but DeAndre Swift. Care to mention anything about it? He goes in the same.
Huge upside. Huge upside. DeAndre Swift, I think, at the end of the day, is going to start going in the second because the hype around him, at least, and everything I've seen in fantasy football circles, is that he's going to be the clear cut RB1. His season got off to a rocky start. I don't know if you remember Week 1.
Dropped that game winner.
Yeah, they had the win. It was an easy touchdown catch in the corner, like the top corner of the end zone, and it bounced off his chest. So that was a tough way to start the year. And then obviously AP was there. You had Kerryon Johnson, who was there siphoning off. None of those guys were there. Todd Gurley didn't sign with them. They're even Ty Johnson, who was there at the back end of the roster, is now, I think he's with the Eagles, something like that. He's not there. Like, there's nobody there anymore. So it just opens up this perfect path for DeAndre Swift to be the clear RB1. And does he have the talent? Did we believe in the talent last year coming into the draft? I did. I do. And you honestly, you look at, like, this is kind of crazy to think about, but if you look at like the Lions' best unit overall, it's their offensive line. Like, they're a bad team, but their offensive line is actually kind of good if you look at the names.
They have a lot of picks invested.
They have a ton of picks invested, and they've hit.
Penei that they just added.
And they just signed Penei Sewell, got him in the 7th pick overall. Like, so their offensive line should be good. I'm not saying they're not going to be a great football team. They're in rebuild mode. I get that. But their run game should be good. I know that Jared Goff can throw to the running back plenty. Like, I've seen that enough. I'm good with that. Yeah, I do believe DeAndre Swift has the chance to be really special. Would I take him the first? Absolutely not. I think I would really take him in the second. So in the third, yeah, I think that's a huge steal, to be honest.
Yeah, there we go. This one goes to our second-year wide receivers. It's
okay. That's a fun conversation,
and that's the thing that people, because everyone's talking about these rookies and the impact that they're going to have. There's a lot of second-year guys, and that was
the second-year wide receiver is a big jump. Like the second year at the wide receiver position is always the year we see big jumps. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. I love this.
Off the top of your head, do you have anyone that comes to mind right away before I give you? I have the name with round, and then buy or sell.
Yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb's a big one for me. I think he was my number one going into that last year. I do believe he'll be with Dak Prescott. I think that's a big jump. Denzel Mims is a guy who really popped to me for a little bit here and there, and then
don't even have him on this.
Okay, so yeah, that's another guy. Which again, the Jets, we're going to see what happens there, but I do believe in Zach Wilson, and I think Denzel Mims will be a part of that passing game. The other one for me is the guy who went 33rd or 34th overall to the Colts. That draft.
Pittman?
Mike Pittman. Thank you. I lost the name. Michael Pittman is the guy who I thought he popped as well, and I think he has a chance to really upgrade
Mine's
this
Justin
year.
Jefferson.
Well, of course. Well, yeah, but he already he had a year one bomb. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, most of them are in here. All the big hitters.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Henry Ruggs, 13th round.
So. 13th round. 13th round. I'll buy at 13th round. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's
But
13th round in general, because 13th round it's worth taking a chance. Yeah, I didn't see anything last year.
so let's wipe away round totals then, so I can just hear
Okay.
your pure
Yeah.
thoughts about the player in itself. Then,
Okay.
Because it goes to say there's not a player in fantasy that I wouldn't have on my team for the right price.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for
that's
sure.
just anyone.
For
So
sure.
What about Henry Ruggs doesn't interest you for his overall second?
Listen, I at this point, I'm not sold on the John Gruden offense. I'm not sold on the Raiders. I like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is really good. And I think Derek Carr is actually winning them some games here and there. But to me, I didn't see him utilized in clever, unique ways. It happened, but it wasn't consistent. I didn't feel like. And yeah, I didn't see enough from Ruggs year one for me to be I didn't see him pop. I guess I would say. I know he's fast. I saw him be fast, but that wasn't impressive. Is this just going to be a guy who gets 4 or 5 targets a game and you're just praying for a long touchdown bomb to save your fantasy week? That's not a guy I count on a week to week. We're usually looking at it in redraft week to week basis. He's a guy I would love in best ball. Best ball, you draft your lineup and it picks your best lineup for over the year. So then you have a guy who can be on your bench. Theoretically, you draft him to be your bench player, but he's going to have those blow up games. I love him in best ball, but in a week to week format where I can't predict a long touchdown bomb. Nobody can. So yeah, I have issues there. If he can become more well rounded, if he can become more well rounded, be a Tyreek Hill, that's
why they got him.
Exactly. Yeah, if you can be a Justin Jefferson, a guy who can actually be a part of your team and also be really fast, yeah, that'd be great. But as of now, I haven't seen that yet.
Next, Jerry Jeudy, and I'll say where they're round after we talk about.
Okay, yeah. So Jerry Jeudy, off the top of my head, I think it's less about him and more about because I do believe I think at the end of the day it is going to be Locke that wins that job because I think Bridgewater has shown me enough. I went back and did a Panthers video last week, so I watched a lot of Bridgewater film. I've seen enough for Bridgewater to know what he is and what he isn't, and Drew Lock at least has that chance to level up and be really good. I know it wasn't pretty last year, but hey, Josh Allen had some not pretty seasons too, and look where he's at now. Yep. I think Drew Lock has that chance. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I do think he has that chance. So I think Justin Jefferson, it's more about what happens with Drew Lock. I would think he's a value. I would think he's somewhere in that mid rounds where it's worth taking a shot on. The other part of it is you have Cortland Sutton come back. How does that affect the offense? KJ Hamler did better than I actually even expected. I wasn't really high on KJ Hamler. They got him in the second round. He's going to be on that offense. It'll be interesting to see. Where's his round total?
9th.
Yeah, I like him in the 9th. I'd be totally fine with him.
I like Jerry Jeudy in the 9th.
That's a huge value for a guy who everyone thought was the best wide receiver coming out last year.
Amazing route runner. He's crisp. He's clean. Yeah. He's talented. He dropped a few. Yeah, definitely dropped a few, but
the drops were a problem in college. I mean, it
happens. Want to see him really, take off in that second year role though, and I think he can. Next guy, CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, yeah, I already mentioned him, but it's a huge buy for me. I don't care where the round is. I was kind of thinking about, I want to go back to Jerry Jeudy. I was thinking you were going to say 6th or 7th. So 9th to me is a huge value.
9th round.
CeeDee Lamb, I'm guessing 6th. That would be my guess. And I don't know that, but I would think even in the 6th, I would really think about it. I really would.
Got to pay for CeeDee. 4th round.
Wow.
It's a 4th round for CeeDee. He is above, almost certain he's above, actually I know, he's above Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
So you got to pay.
Yeah, and granted, that's right now. You never know how it'll actually play out. Yeah, I'm not paying a 4th round for him. Just to me, because there's so many of these year 2 guys that so many of them have a chance to ball out. And as much as I believe in CeeDee, there's other guys. I'm just going to look here in the 4th.
Robert Woods. Yeah, Mike
guys,
Evans.
Yeah, I'm taking guys that I know in the 4th round that I believe in consistency. Cooper Kupp, I'd rather have over CeeDee because I know what Cooper Kupp's going to bring week in and week out.
Stafford too.
Exactly. So yeah, that in the 6th, I was thinking 6th because it's 6th. All right, now you're getting into, if you miss on 6th round, it's not the end of the world, but you can gamble for upside. Yeah, the 4th is too early for me.
Here's one that a lot of people have probably forgotten about, Jalen Reagor.
Wow. Oh, I like this that you're not telling me the round because I get to kind of guess.
Yeah, you get to.
I would think he's right around where Ruggs is. Similar play style, obviously not as well known coming out, but Both fast guys that really didn't produce, but he had the injury early on. He has a chance to produce this year. This. I don't really believe in the quarterback yet. I'm not sold on his ability. I know he can run the ball. I know he's going to be dynamic in those ways.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is a pure pocket passer.
But yeah, I don't believe in him adding a ton of value to your wide receivers from a fantasy outlook. So I'm gonna say sell regardless of where he's at. He's not a guy I'm targeting. I would think he's going in like the 13th, 14th round.
13th round.
Okay, so
he goes 13th round. He's right with Ruggs.
Okay. I'd much rather have Ruggs over.
And I'm the same.
Rieger,
I'm the same way because we've at least seen the pop from Ruggs. Give it that there's weeks where he just goes absolutely silent.
Yeah.
Rieger, we have yet to really see get going on the right track. This next one probably a buy for me. Actually, I know it's a buy based on the round that he goes to Chase Claypool. I don't know what you think about him though. Overall, there's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths. To me, Claypool proved last year. I saw enough to believe he is the wide receiver one on that team. I know Juju's there and he's been good. I know Deontay Johnson's there and he's been good. I know they have another guy they drafted in like the third round who I'm blanking on the name. Claypool's the guy. He's next level, and he's another guy. I'm doing a video on CEH this week for like why I missed. I'm doing a why I missed series in the draft. I'm really excited about starting that for the channel. Claypool's going to be a guy that I do because I was so wrong on him, and I've done a complete 180. Like I was not a fan coming out, but I've seen enough to believe he's going to be a superstar. I would consider buying him in the fifth probably just because the mouths to feed. Fourth, fifth, I'm gonna think about it. I really am.
Seventh.
Wow. So bye. Yeah. Because
end of the sixth, start of the seventh.
Yeah, because he balled out. He was one step below Justin Jefferson as far as to me as like rookie production.
Yeah, he almost had as many touchdowns he had touchdowns out the ass for a minute there.
He produced really, really well. He proved to me he could make it with the big dogs. Yeah, seventh is he will not be getting drafted in the seventh if I'm in your league. He's going before then, guarantee it. Yeah.
We're gonna go Justin Jefferson next. We know that he's hit. But the price you got to pay.
I'm fine with him in the third. I don't know where he's at. Actually,
Second.
I just saw it. Okay, so it's third on Fantasy Calculator because we have Fantasy Calculator up. I did see that.
Pros goes back into second.
Okay, yeah.
2.11.
It's such a difference. I know. I always go running back 1-2. I always try to anyway.
You would have to be. Are you comfortable with Justin Jefferson being your wide receiver one? Because you got to go running back first.
I am comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are, then I would say that's a buy.
Now, here's the thing. I would want to be in a situation where I have two running backs on my team first that I believe in, and then he's my wide receiver my wide receiver one on my team. But like, you're still technically drafting him at wide receiver 2 range. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, how that kind of works out. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. That feels like a little bit overhyped. A little bit, but I mean,
it's okay to say that. I'm a Vikings fan.
Who's going? I'm going to base it on. I'm just going to go through fantasy calculation. Well, I will do that in a minute because I want to keep going. I don't want to see anybody else's names. But just looking at this list, I'm looking at like Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Julio Jones, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, all going after him.
Who goes one pick above him is
Michael Thomas going one pick above
him. Slept on.
Yeah, all of those guys are going ahead of Justin Jefferson. In my head, I feel like
I'd take JJ over Scary Terry.
I probably would too. I'd take him over Robinson too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would too. And I'm high on Allen Robinson,
but I'd take Mike Evans over Jefferson. I'd still probably take Julio over Jefferson, and that feels.
I'd take Julio.
I still probably would, and that's
Julio's a dog, man.
Julio's older, and maybe you can't trust him to be like ultimate fantasy production. I don't know. That's tough. That would be a very difficult decision for me. I'll be honest.
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, I mentioned him already. I love the value there. I think Carson Wentz is going to really get the fresh start that he needs. He's going to the offensive coordinator that he was with when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. You got to remember, like, people forget this because he has never been the same since. But that year, that 2018 season, he was going to be MVP if he doesn't tear his ACL. If he doesn't tear his ACL diving into the end zone against the Rams, he is the MVP that year, regardless of if they go to the Super Bowl or whatever. Yeah, like he's the MVP. Just slam dunk. He was a superstar that year.
His career.
It absolutely would have. So like that injury really put him off track. I'm hoping this year he can have it mentally, because I think mentally was a big issue with him for the Eagles. Like that. Last year, I think he lost it mentally. I think that was the big issue. That's just that's my assessment. I think he he levels up and he gets back to old form, I think Michael Pittman Jr. could be the wide receiver 1 on the team. I think the upside's huge. He proved it to me. I liked him coming out. I loved him in the second round. Thought first pick in the second round was really early, but I still really liked it. I love Michael Pittman Jr. I just felt like he popped so much to me last year.
You have a round guess for me? Because he's kind of quiet.
Yeah, I would guess that I would guess that I'm a little bit higher than the world is. Like, I'm thinking 6th, 7th. I would guess 8th.
10th.
Oh wow, so much buy. Yeah,
he is the 10th round, and he is a big buy for me.
Big buy.
We've seen what he's able to do with the Phillip Rivers, who was struggling to get the ball around at times. Yeah. He was formidable, but not as good as it could have been for what I can see Wentz having the second wind, new career start, kind of what Pittman can fit in. Yeah, take Pittman. It is a great PPR target. He gets 8 to 9 targets a game guaranteed. And you can't beat that.
Wow. Yeah, 8 to 9 targets. He's getting 8 to 9 targets.
He got 6 last year.
He was getting 6.
So I would hope that he could grow into a role.
If he can
see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I'm down for depending on the way that they run the offense. I mean, if they're going to pass the ball like I think they will, I see 8 to 9.
Yeah, and Jonathan Taylor's going to be a big part of that offense, but the passing game's still going to be there. Like I'm
also going off of T.Y. always being hurt.
Yeah, exactly. T.Y.'s
a shell of himself.
Exactly. He's not the same. We can agree on him, right?
T.Y. is dropped.
We always argue about older players, and this is the one we agree on. I love it.
We do agree on it. I still like T.Y. Hilton.
I love him as a person. Yeah, I like the player. I'm glad that he's there. I like the player on the field too.
Player, but depending on where you're going to have to, you're paying for name.
Exactly.
And this year, especially for fantasy. Next one. LaVisca. I love LaVisca.
I love LaVisca. I do know this one, at least what Fantasy Calculator said, because he was one guy that I looked up thinking about for our next segment that we're going to do. I like LaVisca a lot. For me, I saw him in the 9th.
That's what he's
okay, so we're on the same page there. He's a buy in the 9th. He is. He was almost on my buy-sell list. I kept him off because I think the hype is going to get overhyped, and he's going to end up going a lot earlier than the 9th when it's all said and done. But in the 9th right now, love it. I mean, we know the quarterback's going to be awesome. We believe the quarterback's going to be awesome. I believe in the offense at least year 1 early on. Teams are not going to know exactly what to expect. I'm very, very excited for LaVisca this year.
I am too. Trevor Lawrence stepping in there. Urban Meyer, this new offense, we're going to get to see it. LaVisca is a perfect gadget player.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of tunnel screens, a lot of quick looks, a lot of handoffs.
I think 6 to 7 touches is
and he can still do more.
Guaranteed,
too.
Yeah. I feel
he can do a lot. He can do a lot with that. Buying him in the 9th for sure. Let's go T. Higgins.
Love T. Higgins. I saw the article. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw the article today that came out talking about how he's reformed his body and all these things. T. Higgins, another guy who went. Actually, it was T. Higgins that went 33rd overall, and Michael Pittman went like 34th or 35th, whatever. Either way, early second round. T. Higgins, I absolutely love T. Higgins. I think outperformed what people were expecting. I think people like in the fantasy community, especially, were a little bit lower on him, not really expecting a whole lot. He did really well. He did really well even after Joe Burrow goes down, and Joe Burrow is a big crux of why I like him so much.
Higgins was a hit for me last year. I took Higgins and Pittman.
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah, that's a big hit. I think he has the ability to take over that wide receiver. Well, no, he won't be wide receiver 1. It's going to be Jamar. But I do believe he'll be a big part of that offense. Could get 900 to 1,000 receptions, 5-6 touchdowns. That's a guy I would draft 7th round. I'm gonna guess his ADP is 7th round.
6th.
Okay, so a little bit early, but
not bad.
But I think that the hype around him is a little bit bigger because he's a bigger name coming out of college and performed pretty well.
Next one, Brandon Ayuk.
Love Brandon Ayuk. I like Brandon Ayuk more than Deebo Samuel right now. I really do. I love Brandon Ayuk. I don't know what the ADP. I would guess 5th round. I would think that's around the range, and I would take him. I don't know if I'd take him 5th round. That'd be tough.
He goes 6th.
I'd definitely take him 6th.
Okay.
I definitely take. I like Brandon Ayuk a whole lot.
I like the way that. So right now, Jimmy G's still the starter, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter, honestly. I'm
fine with it either way.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good wide receiver that can have the potential to have great weeks.
Yeah, and he's just going to be. I think he's going to be used in so many different ways in that intermediate to short range, and he also has the speed to stretch the field. I think he can do just about everything. I saw enough, just watching the 49ers film. I remember I did a video kind of middle season talking about Jimmy G, and I just remember Brandon Ayuk popping off the screen to me. His explosiveness out of the cuts, all of these things. Deebo Samuel was hurt last year, so he got to shine a little bit more than maybe we were even expecting. I think he's going to be a big part of that
Kittle
offense.
Being out for a while.
Yeah, Kittle was out too. You're absolutely. So
I have 2 more.
Yeah.
Van Jefferson.
I wasn't high on him coming out, so like I hate for like my pre-draft assessment to like seep into it. But I look at Van Jefferson; he wasn't able to overtake Reynolds for that wide receiver 3 job. Reynolds is gone. They draft a wide receiver, so like coming into coming into the draft, we were thinking for the Rams, okay, you know, Van Jefferson's the obvious 3. They drafted in the second round. He's going to factor in as the 3rd wide receiver in the 11 personnel. And then they take Tutu Atwell in the second. They're adding speed, and now that was their first pick. So obviously, you know, we can talk about draft value and all that. That's not what this is about. But that just makes me think Van Jefferson's not a guy I'm buying. Van Jefferson's not, like, of all the second round wide receivers, I would think he's going to be like the bottom of my list. I think I'd rather take a shot on Rieger ahead of Van Jefferson. And so far, Rieger has been the lowest guy I am in my head. If I'm going to guess ADP, I would guess, well, you said 13th.
ADP lines up. He's undrafted.
Okay. I was going to guess 15th or something crazy like that. Yeah.
Most leagues don't go past that. Yeah. I think technically it was like a 15th or 16th, but I just went ahead and put undrafted just because the typical league doesn't even go that.
Yeah. I can't bet on a guy who I didn't think was incredibly explosive coming in. He gets drafted because of his route running. His route running is awesome. That's great. But at the end of the day, man, like you have to have that certain level of athletic talent, just God-given talent, to even have a chance, to me. And I don't know. I hate to say that he doesn't have a chance. He certainly does. He could surprise me for sure. But I don't believe in him at this point.
Last one, gaining a lot of buzz on Twitter. A lot of people are saying this is the guy you target deep and late, just depending on the way that the wide receivers shake up. It's Darnell Mooney.
Well, I like Darnell Mooney. I've taken him a lot, and I'm glad you mentioned it. I totally forgot about him. Yeah, I've taken him a lot in best ball. I like to do best ball a whole lot. I was thinking about doing like a best ball thing for our pod in a couple weeks or something. But yeah, I've been targeting him late in best ball a lot. He's the guy who popped to me for the Bears. And listen, I think he has a lot of talent. It's just a guy. I think they found a gem in like the 4th or 5th round wherever they drafted him, and I think he's going to be really, really good moving forward. He certainly popped last year. He got a lot of targets. I remember I won a couple different like bets betting on like how many receptions he would have. I like to do those player prop bets, you know, and I remember winning a couple weeks with Mooney just because he was getting a ton of targets at one point in the season. I don't know. The problem is, I already said I'm not like in love with their passing game just yet, but I certainly like him. Where's he going? 13th. Yeah, I don't know. I'd still probably take Ruggs over Mooney. Probably.
I would take Ruggs just because we've seen it, but right after that, though, I have no doubt in Mooney and his ability. Yeah. And I just, in my head, seeing what Fields can do with that offense, I do see it being...
He can be a fantasy gem. He really can.
He really can.
Yeah.
Last question. I'll lump this one all together. This one really isn't a buy or sell. This is an AFC North battle of who gets more points, the Steelers wide receivers or the Bengals wide receivers. I'll be ballsy enough to throw the Browns in there, too.
I'll take Bengals because I think the Bengals are going to be throwing it more. I think at the end of the day.
So that's a Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins versus Juju, Deontay, Chase Claypool.
Yeah, and I'll go one step further and say, ooh, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. That's a tough one.
They're about to get the most.
No, I was going to say which wide receivers I'd rather have just from a football aspect. But yeah, I'm not going to go there. I
do rather have the Bengals wide receiver core.
Yeah, I think I would too. That's what I was going to say, and I thought that was bold. And I was like, man, I really like Claypool a whole lot.
Jamar is that special.
Jamar is special to me. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Tyler Boyd is slept on
really
by a lot of people.
Yeah.
He was their one before they started revamping this core, and he was a decent one.
Yeah.
I mean, AJ Green was out for many
solid.
years. Yeah. And T. Higgins, let's see where he goes. If you're telling me he's the 3, who's the 3 on that team then?
I think Boyd will fit into the slot, so technically it'd be him. But when you look on like production value, I would probably say it's T. Higgins. Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree, man. I think to answer your question, I think what tips the scale for me is I just can't imagine them asking Big Ben to throw it as much as they did last year. Big Ben, he's aging. We know that. Obviously, we think this is going to be his last year, but we kind of thought that last year. I think they targeted Najee Harris at that point in the draft because they knew they needed to have a running game they could rely on. I think they knew that, and they knew they couldn't throw the ball as much as they did this past year. Yeah, I do think I like Claypool so much, but I think overall the wide receivers on the Steelers are going to be overdrafted a little bit just because I don't think their passing game, I don't think Big Ben can support 3 fantasy relevant wide receivers at this point in his career.
Man,
he barely did last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did good last year. I think that there might be a little bit of a drop off. I
He
know
fell
that,
off
I know
at the end
that
of
he
the
can
season.
support a good offense fantasy-wise.
Yeah.
You just better hope you have the right one.
Yeah.
And I can't sit here and tell you if it's going to be Claypool one week or Juju one week or Deontay Johnson.
That's going to be the tough part.
That's where you get stuck in fantasy hell.
Yeah.
Is you make the choice with your gut.
It's like playing the running back game with the 49ers. It's like which we know a running back's going to ball out week to week. We just don't know which one. Like, it could be Jeff Wilson one week. Next week it's Hasty. A couple weeks you get you have it's just ridiculous.
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
One more.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
You mentioned the 49ers.
Okay.
Trey Sermon is very highly drafted compared to a lot of people.
I wouldn't draft him highly. I just look at the 49ers. They're never going to rely on one dude. You still have Raheem Mostert. I mean, I would never draft him highly just because I do think he'll be utilized. I think he'll have the touches and he'll certainly have his weeks. But overall, that 49ers run game, I'm gonna target one or two of them, like with some of my last picks, just because I know one or two of them are gonna have some good weeks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we play in a very deep, keeper league, like we've already mentioned. I'm gonna have a couple 49ers running backs on that roster just in case they catch fire for a couple weeks and I can throw them in a roster. I just can't imagine drafting Trey Sermon early.
Trey Sermon is rookie running back 5.
Where's he getting drafted?
Because out of rookies.
Yeah, but do you have ADP?
Look it up on here. I'll find it on Pros.
No, you're fine. Yeah, because I just think
I want to say it was like 8th round or something.
Okay, so I have 11th.
That fits in.
I'm fine with 11th. Yeah,
I probably still wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, you could take him.
The fact that Michael, we're going to talk about him in a little bit, but the fact that Michael Carter is after him is ridiculous to me. Carter,
that's kind of the whole point, was that where they were going versus like some of the other names that are around there.
Yeah, I'd rather have Marlon Mack than Trey Sermon. I would. I think Marlon Mack's going to be an impact on that. I think he'll be the running back 2 on that offense, and I mean, I don't know. I can't say that about Trey Sermon. I think he'll be in rotation, but it's not just going to be here's our number 1, here's our number 2. It's going to be whoever plays, you know what I mean? It's like the Patriots a little bit with that.
I'm good.
I love that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I hope people enjoyed that.
Good.
I really did. That was a good one. Let's move on to our fantasy values that we're going to talk about here. I'll go first here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to start it off with a Michael Carter. That's the guy I was talking about. That we just mentioned it. He's going the 11th round. I know he's a rookie, and he was I believe the 5th running back taken, if I'm not mistaken. He was the guy to me. He was like that 5th guy, and coming into the draft, like I really liked him, but I think a lot of it was going to depend on where he landed and with the opportunity. And to me, landed in the perfect spot. He has the perfect opportunity. He is the only running back on that Jets team that I think he's the clear cut number 1. I'll put it that way. I don't believe
who else is
in
on that
really.
Team? It's
you have
Florida guy, right?
you have the guy LaMichael Pirine. Yeah,
that's it.
That's really all they have. And then there's some scrubs behind him that names that have been around the NFL that you could think about. But really, he's the guy. I do believe in the talent to be a starter in the NFL. I saw enough from him, and I think the offense itself, the running, the way that they're bringing the Kyle Shanahan offense to the Jets, right? It's LaFleur, it's Mike LaFleur instead of Matt, but it's LaFleur that's going to bring that running game. It's maybe not going to be exactly what Shanahan does, but that's going to be the scheme. That scheme is running back friendly. That scheme is fantasy friendly, especially if they use the same running back all year. Michael Carter, to me, like he can be Devontae Freeman. He's similar to Devontae Freeman. Like Devontae Freeman, think about Devontae Freeman when Kyle Shanahan was with the Falcons, those couple of years, Devontae Freeman was the truth. I think Michael Carter has that opportunity. He's a guy I am targeting early and often in best ball. He's a guy that I will be targeting in fantasy. He's a guy that I will not get out of fantasy season without at least having 1 or 2 shares of him.
Got to go through me on some of them because I do too.
Yeah.
We talked about it afterwards, beforehand, that there's going to be a running back that, and we didn't know it was going to be Michael Carter. For me, I was looking at like a Javonte Williams or someone who wasn't Najee or Travis Etienne that was going to land in a spot where maybe I'm not like a sole believer in their skill set, but opportunity cannot be denied right here. Yeah. And for me, that's Michael Carter by definition. He is an explosive runner. He is fast. He kind of had to play second fiddle for a while there after Javonte kind of came onto the scene. Mm-hmm. But He has those reps. He has the legs to do it, and there's nobody around him to take food out of his mouth. He's the only guy who can do that to himself. And with a new culture, a new vibe going on in the New York Jets, he's the guy to do it. Yes, target him. He goes in the 11th. Target him sooner than that.
Yeah, he will not end up going 11th at the end of the day. I can't imagine.
He won't make it past the 8th in ours. I'd bet money on it.
Yeah, I just think everyone's gonna catch on. I think once the news outlets and media really starts focusing on fantasy football, and once like the public starts focusing on fantasy football, they're gonna see. Everyone's gonna see what we're seeing. I can't imagine we're gonna be the only ones.
Don't go that late.
Yeah, and he has a chance to be that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he will be for sure.
Oh, on his team. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was saying he has a chance to be that in fantasy. He really does.
Well,
that's the upside.
That's where opportunity meets.
Exactly.
If he's the RB1 on the Jets, and depending on how their season goes, why not?
Yeah.
Mine. So you have a lot of late round guys. I have a few. Mine are some of these earlier round guys that kind of fell off, and I'm not one to defend Slant Boy. I'm really not. But it's Michael Thomas.
Slant Boy.
He goes middle of the third right now. He used to be a guy that you could comfortably take with your first round pick. And you had the production.
One bad year, and that's,
one bad year.
And he's
honestly,
to the third.
I would blame Drew Brees for a lot of it. I really would. I think it was Drew Brees' inability to be able to. Yeah, that's why he was Slant Boy, because a lot of the times the playbook kind of kept him in check. Michael Thomas can run any route you need. He is up there with the DeAndre Hopkins, the Julio Jones. I guess if you want to say that he's an elite wide receiver.
I don't think he's up there. I think the scheme helps him more than
really.
He's
so
not.
You're not on Slant Boy.
No, he's. I agree with him being a buy in the third round.
He's a top 5 or 6 wide receiver, right there.
Yeah, talent wise, I wouldn't agree with that. I think there's at least 6 guys that are more physically gifted than Michael Thomas. Excuse me.
Okay.
I would say he's in the perfect scheme, and he is he's a very good wide receiver.
I think Jameis can get the ball.
Oh,
he can get the ball to both teams.
I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing. The only point I'm arguing is that he's in the category of a Hopkins or a Julio Jones. I just don't see him in that category. It's just a pure football. I'm not talking fantasy.
Now, pure football, I'll agree, because that's where I always had. Listen, I was.
You're the one that calls him Slant Boy. I think we're on the same page there. I just
we are. When it comes to fantasy in the third round, though, I would take a Michael Thomas here.
Yeah.
Easily.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Easily. I'm comfortable with taking him in the second as long as I have my running back game shored up for sure.
Yeah.
Just because that's positional value. He's going to put up elite wide receiver 1 numbers this year.
Yeah.
He's back. People slept on him. He was hurt last year. Drew Brees in the offense, everything. Yeah, there was a few weeks where he did come back and you really needed him to. I think he just had a lingering injury all year that kind of just kept him out and sidelined,
Yeah, and I think the only thing that scares me a little bit is like the little bit of beef that was going on between him and the team. I felt like you were hearing stories here and there, and it just makes me wonder, diva. He's a little bit of a diva. And I remember one of the last games of the season, and don't quote me on this, but I feel like I remember. Like they were pretty much putting him to the side. Like they were targeting other players. They put him in a position to not succeed, like they hadn't done his entire career. And I think it was Sean Payton saying, "Hey, we made you. Like you're good. You perform pretty fine, but like we put you in the perfect situation. We gave you the perfect routes. We had a quarterback getting you the ball consistently over the middle. Yeah, you're a good wide receiver, but you're not like you know what I mean. I feel like that's kind of what was happening, and I wonder how that plays out this year. That's the only thing that scares me. Other than that, like your logic is flawless in my opinion.
I'm gonna buy him.
Yeah, for sure agree. Let's move on to another wide receiver who I would put as a talent perspective in the same range. I really would. I believe in Courtland Sutton. I think he is a very talented player. Younger guy has not really been able to produce the way obviously Michael Thomas has, but he is a really good player, and he was a guy that we were both very high on last year. Gets hurt the first game. Gets hurt, goes back in, tears everything in his leg basically, and now he's the 7th round ADP.
It took him in the 4th last year.
And listen, I have no problem with him in the 7th. I'll buy in the 7th. Now 7th is the range I want him because the injury factor and how long that lingers into the season is a real, and how much it affects him as a player. Yeah, that's a real factor. And the other part is the offense. Like, how does he fit in with Jerry Jeudy, who's been there for a year now, KJ Hamler, who's been there playing for a year without him on the field. I don't know the answer to those questions, but I will buy him purely on the talent that I believe in from a Courtland Sutton. I think he's an incredibly talented player.
We are wide receiver heavy right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to keep it rolling with Allen Robinson.
Okay.
Goes late 4th, early 5th in a lot of guys' books. I'm going to buy some Allen Robinson. I know that's typically where he goes. He falls into that range. But I'm going to sit here and just boast about Justin Fields and rave about him that I think that he is going – I know that he is going to eventually overtake that starting role if Matt Nagy cares about his job at all. Sure, he can sit there and be hard-headed, I guess, and sit the better player if you want. Justin Fields, he is adept. He is capable. He can get the ball to his guys. Why are you laughing? You don't like Justin Fields.
I like Justin Fields. I think just say the better player, like we never see him play in the NFL.
Justin Fields is better than Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. That's why I didn't say anything. I agree with you.
It's weird to say that, though.
To me, it's weird to say that about. Like, it's not like he was like a top 10 quarter. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't like one of the like in my little world. Yeah. He was one of it was 1 and 2, and everybody else is has a chance to be really good, but I don't know yet. And to me, he was in that I don't know yet range.
Fields took the fall that just wasn't fair. I think.
In your opinion, okay.
For me,
he went exactly where he should have gone.
It was he did because they had to move up and get him. It was fair.
Yeah.
It was 1A Trevor, and then they had Zach Wilson kind of on another tier. And then there is a break, of course, but I think Justin Fields is very capable of.
At the end of the day, you brought it up. I smiled because I do agree with what you're saying. And then I jumped. I don't want to feel like I don't disagree with you.
I'm buying a lot of Chicago guys that I used to not buy because of the way that the offense ran. I'm going to give it one more shot. I'm going to give it one more year. That goes for David Montgomery. That goes for whatever tight end, Cole Kmet, I guess. I know they have like 18 tight ends on roster always. Allen Robinson, give me some Darnell Mooney, some Javon Mims, as you said.
Yeah.
Wims, isn't it?
Well, Mims is with the Jets.
Oh, no.
You're talking about Wims, the guy who threw the punch from Georgia.
That's why I said Wims.
I gotcha.
Give me all those guys. I think that they're going to be a very capable offense. More capable than what they've been, which is dog shit.
Yeah,
they can do better than that.
Do you believe in the offensive mastermind of Matt Nagy? Like,
not that
that's
I believe
the part that scares me.
No, I don't believe in a Matt Nagy. I believe that Justin Fields will be able to get this system going better than what Trubisky or Dalton.
Yeah, but to me, like his ability is all in his legs, right? Like, or at least his difference making ability. Excuse me. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have an arm, but like I don't.
His legs open up.
His legs are special.
I think his arm.
All the questions I have. All the questions I have about him is his arm, his consistency in that range. Like I don't have any questions. Like I think he opens up the offense with his legs. So that's my big thing.
And I still think he's going to be able to pass the ball though because of that.
For sure.
He doesn't have the arm talent that is Zach
Year
Wilson
one. He's going to be
Trevor.
so exciting.
That's why he kind of fell in a lot of people's eyes. But I think when it comes to his mobility, his ability to run I heard someone mention that he's on the same level of like a Jalen Hurts. He's better than Jalen Hurts.
So much better.
He is a way better passer than a Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, you are limiting yourself.
And he's a better runner.
Jalen Hurts is a talented quarterback. He is. Yeah. He can do an offensive thing. But when you look at overall potential, there's a world where Justin Fields hits.
Justin Fields is more like a Cam Newton than people want to admit from a running perspective.
There's a way.
Like he's a big physical runner, and he's faster. He's faster than Cam Newton even, especially now. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. I do agree. I think he's going to open up the offense. I do wonder, I wonder if this is going to be like a Ravens situation where the wide receivers are really kind of second fiddle to the offense overall. You know what I mean? So I
don't think it's going to to be that bad with them.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
what I wonder.
Yeah, I think they're going to.
I'm not saying Justin Fields is Lamar. I can't talk. I'm not making that comparison, but I'm saying I do wonder just year one how much of an impact does he have with his right arm? I don't know that yet.
Go ahead.
My next one, we'll keep it going with wide receiver.
Damn,
I have 3 running backs I want to talk about though. So I don't know if
I have wideouts.
You have all wideouts. Okay,
I have a running back on there.
Okay,
and a tight end.
Do you? Yeah, you do. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I only have one more running back I'm going to talk about. You're going to take one of mine. Corey Davis is the next guy. Corey Davis going over to the Jets, second, 10th round ADP, and that's really where this starts and ends for me. To me, he is essentially free in the 10th round, and this is a guy who he leveled up last year. He finally showed some talent, and he finally showed that he can be a capable wide receiver and not just meh. And granted, he will never live up to that top 5 draft pick that he got drafted at. He never should have gone there in the first place. Titans missed on that aspect of the pick, but I think with the Jets, a fresh start, a quarterback that I think is going to be really good and really dynamic for the Jets, and Wilson. Yeah, I think he is a value in the 10th round to be a very good depth wide receiver on your bench that you can start in a pinch. And I do think he has the upside of being a consistent starter, if it hits the right way. I'm not saying he will be, but in the 10th round, that's a value to me.
We saw him do it at the Titans.
Yeah.
He fitted that role well. Had one of his best years on the right year to do it in a contract year.
Yeah.
Maybe he can grow there. Zach Wilson.
I love Zach Wilson.
It looks good.
Yeah,
it does.
I'm excited for him.
So it'll be fun. Random, where are you going to target him, or are you?
Zach Wilson?
It's hard
I
to
don't want
mess
to talk
with.
about that. We're in a keeper league, and I don't get my homes this year. I don't want to talk about my quarterbacks.
It's hard to mess with quarterbacks, especially rookies.
None of our friends are listening at this point, are they? We're good. 45 minutes in. They get tired of our voices by now.
Dylan said he's a listener.
Yeah, well, okay, Dylan.
He said if there's one podcast he's going to listen to, it's going to be the one he can give us.
Yeah, Dylan. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Keep that in the confidential files.
I don't even like Zach Wilson.
That's fine. That's fine. I will continue. Rookie wide receiver for me. The only thing that's holding this guy back, I think, is the quarterback and maybe the new coach, and we'll see the scheme. It's Devontae Smith. He goes in the 9th round. He's going to get fed numbers. There's no way around it. I've seen some of the videos. Of course, we've seen Devontae Smith play, very much so capable. I think he's way better than a Jalen Rieger.
I heard he won some stupid college award or something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever the Heisman is or something
like that.
Devontae in the 9th round, give me that. Give me that potential. Yeah. And I love that, honestly, when it comes to keeper value for our league, too. I think he can do great things with it.
All right, let's move on to my last wide receiver that I'm going to talk about. And this is a guy who I feel like has been slept on for a while. And the fact that he is going in the 5th round, what if I told you could get the 11th best wide receiver in PPR formats in the 5th round? Well, you'd be getting Tyler Lockett. That's what you'd be getting. Tyler Lockett, I don't understand the lack of love for Tyler Lockett. He had a great season last year. Yeah, he had a couple games where he did disappear. I get that. That happens all the time with every wide receiver, but he's fairly consistent overall. He is one of Russell Wilson's absolute favorite targets, and I know DK Metcalf is in town, and DK is better than Tyler Lockett. He is. He should probably go higher than Tyler Lockett. But that team, that offense can withstand 2 good wide receivers, 2 fantasy relevant wide receivers. Russell Wilson can support 2 fantasy relevant wide receivers. Do I want him in the 3rd? No. Do I want him in the 4th? I'd consider it. In the 5th, I love it. I absolutely love it. Tyler Lockett to me is a stud.
Man, I agree with you. Tyler Lockett is slept on
because he's a starter.
I think the reason he was very much so. He's always been that way. Yeah. When Doug Baldwin left town, who was the guy that stepped up and went in the 2nd and 3rd round? Yes, there's a new guy in town, 6'3", 220 pounds, Olympic runner that is just a freak. He's different.
Ridiculous.
Who goes in the 2nd round on average? That's a very high price tag to pay. I think he's worth it, but it's a high price tag to pay.
For sure.
Tyler Lockett, you can manage that.
Absolutely agree.
Let's see. Mine, I'm going to go running back here. He goes in the 10th round.
Okay.
Javonte Williams.
Love him.
So we have Melvin Gordon. You got to deal with all that stuff.
This is the guy we both wanted.
We love Javonte Williams. I love the spot when it comes to a Dynasty Keeper League because he's going to be the future.
Okay.
He's going to be the guy. I don't think Melvin Gordon, I don't know the contract off the top of my head, another year at most. I think it ends this year, another year at most, though, if that. So, Javonte's going to
at the end of the day, Javonte, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a Jonathan Taylor story. You don't draft him in the 2nd round because you're going to get really mad in the first 4 weeks where he's not utilized as the RB1, and you're going to watch the games and be like, why is he not getting the ball enough? He's the better player. And then midway through the season, at some point, they're gonna transition over to Javonte Williams. He will be the guy. He will be the stud. Javonte Williams, his comp was Melvin Gordon. Like this is almost exactly the same story as J.K. Dobbins going to the team that had his comp on him. Like when his comp was Melvin Ingram, and he goes Mark Ingram. Excuse me, I got you. Yeah, Mark Ingram, and he goes to the Ravens. This is Javonte Williams going to the Broncos with Gordon on the team. Like they run the same way. They're dynamic runners. They're really, really good. The Broncos traded up ahead of the Dolphins to go get their running back. They know that he is the future. They know they're not going to end up paying Melvin Gordon much longer. They will probably keep him on the contract this year. You kind of have to, but this is why you don't pay running backs. I mean, it's so crazy to see, Todd Gurley's looking for a job everywhere he can, and Melvin Gordon is, on the last year of his contract with very little gas left in the tank. This is why you don't play running back, man. It just is what it is. They both had 6 years careers.
It's true. Yeah,
that's the way it goes. It's unfortunate, but it is.
Oh, it's almost canon at this point. That's what you got to stick with,
Yeah, absolutely. So, you go younger, go better. I absolutely love that pick.
Your guy.
My turn. This is the last guy I have, and we're going to go Josh Jacobs in the 3rd. This is the earliest guy that I'm going to talk about here. Going in the 3rd, listen, he was 8th in scoring last year. Yeah, I didn't love the way they used him. I thought he should have been on the field even more than he was. I didn't like that certain other running backs were getting touches, getting touchdowns away from my guy, Josh Jacobs. But to me, he is a dynamic playmaker. To me, the only issue with taking a Josh Jacobs is the fact that you got to deal with Gruden. And I'm sorry, I'm out on Gruden. I don't like his offense. I don't like him as a coach. I think they need to move on. I'm done. I really am. But until then, I still believe he is a very, very capable RB2 on your team. And in the third round, I'm buying him in the third round. I wouldn't buy him in the second. I'm not saying this is a huge value, but I do think it's a value. I'll take him in the third round to be your RB2 and be a solid contributor on your fantasy team.
I'm trying to think of like what my team would look like doing something like that. So I would be okay with, because I can't just feed myself the earth. Okay, so let's say Jonathan Taylor. Then I'm able to pull like a DK Metcalf and then a Josh Jacobs.
I'm happy with that.
That's
you know what I was thinking. I would have gone one step further. I would have said, the earliest you would draft him in the third is the first pick in the third, right?
Yeah.
If I had the first pick in my snake draft, I would probably take McCaffrey number 1. I would come back around. I would take one of the top wide receivers and then
I just went
and then Josh Jacobs. Yeah, exactly. But that's realistically that's a realistic situation.
Is where he goes.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I really am. And if I have McCaffrey and Josh Jacobs as my number 2, I'm really, really okay with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I have some tight ends right here.
Oh, you have 2 more.
Well, the one that one's just.
Oh, that's your extra one. Yeah, I got
that's a crutch that I can't let go of, and I never will to the day I die.
Sorry.
This one though is Anthony Ferkser. Nobody is talking about him for the Titans. They lost Giannou, they lost Delaney, and Tannehill, Titans, anyone, they love to utilize the tight end spot across the middle as a gadget. I'm not saying that Ferkser is athletically gifted as him. He's not. But he's going to be the guy. A.J. Brown, as vocal as he's been, he's talked about him.
Yeah, I mean, how many touches did Ferkser got a good bit of touches last year? And the amazing
that was battling with Giannis.
Yeah, and the amazing thing was, like, they had, it seemed like 2 or 3 plays a game where the entire plan was to throw the tight end. Now, it didn't always work out. Like, everyone's, I say 2 or 3 plays. One of those maybe, they end up going to the second read. But there was 2 or 3 plays a game where the tight end over the middle was the first read. That was where they wanted to go with the football. Sometimes it was covered,
that's where
but
you
sometimes
split play action.
Exactly. And there was one, it felt like every single game where it was like a specific like tunnel screen or something to the tight end. Ferkser got in on those. It wasn't all Jonnu. It was a lot Jonnu, but Ferkser got in on those. I absolutely love this. He's a guy who's not getting any love, and he deserves to get some.
14th round.
14th round. And listen,
that's
we're not
free tight end.
Yeah, we're not talking about like stud tight end, but for a guy who has the chance to be special, who has a chance to be a tight end contributor on a week in, week out basis, in the 14th round, that's free.
There's very few guys, I would say probably like 6 tight ends that you can just leave.
Yeah.
That you don't have to start playing matchup-based stuff. I think Anthony Ferkser is a guy who can actually get up to that status to where, sure, he's not going to drop 20 and hang on your hand.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a huge jump up.
There's 2 more really fast. Irv Smith. Kyle Rudolph's no longer there for the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins, I know the way that he utilizes tight end. He's going to be one.
Where did Rudolph go? Did he go somewhere else?
We cut him.
Y'all cut him. He hasn't signed anywhere else.
No.
I forgot y'all cut him. Y'all had to save money.
Had to make
totally
money.
forgot
and then
about
the
that.
other one is a Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas has been all over the place, but he really started lining up at tight end a lot more than he used to, and he's got that now.
Yeah.
It's snap share. The last crutch that I wanted to mention is Odell Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
Odell Beckham goes in the 5th round, 6th round.
He has the potential.
The talent. It's solely the talent. If I were to rank wide receivers based on pure talent, Odell is high.
Yeah, he's getting in the top. Yeah, he's certainly in the conversation.
Not say top 5, but
he's certainly I was gonna say top 10, but I certainly. I completely agree with you. It's tough because it's just been so long since he's been consistent.
And when it was there, it was bad because of Baker and the problem they had.
Yeah, and obviously, like, really, we're going back to his New York days before we can really talk about a guy who was consistently fantasy relevant. And yeah, it's unfortunate he's had some injuries, he's had some issues here and there, but yeah, overall, I absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's all you got. All right, that's all I got. That's all we got, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you are interested in our podcast that comes out every week, and our at least one other football related video that comes out every week. I've been putting those out. I got one coming out this week with CEH and kind of doing a retrospective of kind of what I missed on the analysis process with me. I was very high on him, and he underperformed this past year, so we're kind of doing a retrospective on that. That's gonna be fun. Look out for that either Wednesday or Thursday. Not sure when that'll get out. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, like I said, all that good stuff. Peace.
Seb?